Hi guys, Marcus here from Feel Good Events, partyologist and all-round party expert. So today we're going to talk about guest experience. Sometimes there can be a bit of confusion about what guest experience really is. Now for me, the guest experience is everything that guest experiences from even before they even come to your party. What they experience through the party right up to the end, and how they feel about your party after the event. Are they talking about it? Are they saying what a great night they had? You know, and in years to come, still talking about that party. That's what party experience is in a general term. It can be broken down into lots of different areas. The invitation would be the first part that your guests are going to have some sort of touch point with you regarding your party. We then move into when your guests arrive at the party. What are they experiencing when they arrive? Is there a grand entrance? Is there some sort of excitement that makes them go, oh, what's happening here? Is there food on hand? Is there drinks on hand? Is it the right sort of music playing? Is the right sort of lighting set? These are all part of the guest experience. You then move into the actual party experience. If it's just the guests walk in and there's a balloon garland and you have a few photos in front of that and there's nothing else planned and you've just got Spotify playing, it's probably not as a great experience as if you've got, you know, a really great DJ and the lighting's really exciting and the decor is fully themed and the room is transformed. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't keep their guests in mind when planning their party. So the more you can keep your guests' experience in mind when planning your party, the better your party will be. And this will make it a lot easier as far as planning goes, because if you're focused on what the guests are going to experience from start to finish and you go through every point of your party and what you think you want to happen and plan for that, you're going to create a better experience rather than just hoping for the best and the guests show up and you've got a bit of music on and you know the cake comes out and you do a few speeches and that sort of thing. That's all pretty standard sort of stuff and doesn't really create a great memorable experience for the guests at the party. One of the key things that we talk about to create a great guest experience is stimulating your guest five senses. The more you stimulate your guest five senses, the better the party will be. Sight is a very easy one to do because that can be your decor and your decorations, how you've themed the room or styled the room, your lighting that you use. All these are part of visual stimulation. Sound obviously is the music and the soundtrack to your party, whether you're having a playlist on Spotify or the latest greatest DJ or you know a really wild and exciting band. These are all going to have an impact on the sound and senses in that regard. Taste is obviously food and drinks, and you know coming up with some exciting drinks and cocktails is going to stimulate your guests in that way. You know, some exciting food, maybe just not your party pies and sausage rolls. You might do something a bit different and that, you know, and different sort of tastes and flavors in your food. Touch is always a tricky sort of one. An example of touch that we've used for some of our events, say a jungle theme. We've had live snakes and crocodiles. Smell is quite often stimulated by the food that you have in the room. You could have nice scented candles for when guests arrive, so they get a nice you know, sense of smell when they walk into the room. Sometimes even something as simple as a smoke machine, if it's got a scent in it. Smell is great for creating memories. Somebody might smell a nice candle and go, and it'll trigger a memory of a party or something like that. We had a client once that had a rooftop wedding. It was, you know, a really unique and awesome sort of space, but for the guests to go to the toilets, they were 10 floors down. If they want to go to smoke, they weren't allowed to smoke on the rooftop, so they had to go downstairs and then outside. It makes it harder to get a great party atmosphere going when all your guests are missing for half the night. Even for outdoor events, you know, quite often the simple things are overlooked. So things like, if it's during the day, is there shade? You know, having sunscreen on hand for your guests, otherwise they're going to get fried and then they want to go home because they're all burnt. You know, if it's at night time, is it going to be too cold? Mosquitoes, you know, insects, those sorts of things, having repellents. If you don't have the right colors to set the right mood to change how your guests feel, then that's going to have an impact on your guest experience. If you choose the wrong food and you have food that's really hard to eat and sloppy and messy, that's going to have an impact on your guest experience. If they have to go looking for a drink when they want, and it's hard to get a drink, that's going to have an impact on your guest experience. So you've got grandma there, and you've got, you know, you might have young kids if it's a birthday party, something like that, and then all the ages in between. You have to obviously think of their guest experience from different points of view. So grandma typically won't want to be standing up all night. So have we got suitable furniture for, something comfortable for grandma to sit on, because she's probably going to want to sit down for most of the evening. If you've got kids there, is there stuff for kids to do? Because kids get bored really quickly. It might be as simple as colouring in the corner on a little table, or there's some video games set up in a separate room, or something for the kids to do to keep them entertained. If the kids are having a good time, the parents are having a good time. Having things for different age groups will again affect your guest experience. The same with your music choice. If you have just one type of music all night, you're only going to appeal to one small demographic of your party. So having multiple music choice or music played during the night, hopefully it will keep people on the dance floor because it's a good mix. So if we talk about weddings and guest experience in weddings, if you look back to the olden days, years and years ago, the wedding was typically about the parents of the bride and groom before, more than the bride and groom. Then became more about the bride and groom, which makes more sense. And you think the couple is the most important people there, not the parents. Most weddings now are focused more on the guest experience. So if you look at what's happening in trends in weddings at the moment, it's really about that guest experience and everything that we've talked about from start to finish. What's going to happen, and is it going to be exciting? Is it going to be visually stimulating? Is it going to change how your guests feel for the better? That's how weddings and that are sort of heading these days. So you'll see people spending big bucks and big budgets on weddings because they are more focused on the guest experience. Parties typically aren't always thinking about the guest experience, where weddings now it's more of a sort of a trend in that how can we make this a better experience for our guests. Hopefully that trend moves more into parties, because that's what we're all about at Feel Good Events, creating that great guest experience. And yeah, that being the most important thing. And as I always say, if your guests are having a good time, you're usually having a good time. So, you focus on your guests, although it might seem a bit odd if it's your party, I guarantee you'll have a better time yourself.